my name is Sangeeta and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, this channel is all about art and creativity. I assume that we all have seen the latest images by James Webb Space Telescope, and the pictures are like really crisp and bright and very very inspiring. So last year around this time I was also going through some of the pictures on NASA's website, and that inspired me to make a lot of galaxy and nebula inspired paintings. So as what you're seeing on your screen are just a few of those paintings that I made in that phase. So for today I thought I'll teach you how to make a galaxy painting, and it's a very 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 easy process. And even if you are like a beginner in a digital painting, I think you can just start with galaxy painting and just explore with that. So today I'll be working on GNU or GIMP, and if you have no clue what GIMP is, I'll provide a link to download the software. It is completely free and open source. And if you're like absolute beginner, you can just follow through it. And I'll also link a different playlist that I have created for this particular, for learning this tool, that you can also check out. So yeah, let's get into it. And for that we will start by file creation. So it has automatically taken the width and height, and we will be working with pixels. We can also check out the advanced options, but more or less we will be working with the default values. So I'll just go ahead and press OK. So let's save the file if we haven't already, and I'll just name it Milky Way, let's say. And it's saving in XCF, a raw file, and save. Next step is that we will create a new layer, and you can name it anything that you want. Like, let's, for simplicity, I'll just keep it 1, and ensure that you are filling it with transparency. And from this point onwards, we do not want to have anything in our background colors, so we'll just keep it transparent and we'll press OK. Now keep saving your files as and when you make changes. It's a good habit. So we will be working with brush tool, and GIMP gives you a lot of options, and if you have downloaded extra brushes, you will also see that. But at this point it doesn't really matter because we will be smudging them eventually. So you can just select any brush. Try to keep the size somewhere around 40-50, and then change the colors. So you can pick the colors from the image that you're referring, or pick something from the ranges of blue and bright pinks and yellows and white, because most of the pictures came up with those colors. So I'll pick something of a cyan. You can make it as bright as you want, and press OK, and just make random strokes. So at this point, like, it absolutely doesn't matter what kind of strokes and random strokes that you are making, so just go ahead with it. We then change the color to something like a bright pink or something in that range, and then repeat the exercise of making random strokes. And I will also add a little bit of yellow somewhere in the middle, and a bit of white. So done. Save it. Now from this point onwards, we will be using the smudge tool, which, as the name suggests, is for smudging the entire thing. Now in this case, you can experiment with the different size of the smudge tool that you would like to use, and play around with the different size of the smudge tool, because that will add a lot of variety in your galaxy painting. So I will be fast forwarding it, and then we will talk about the next step. So now you can see that we have merged all our colors, and you are free to make it as per your liking, because there are absolutely no rules when it comes to making nebula art. You just have to make it look more voluminous, and you can play around with the colors. So you can add more colors, create more layers, and add colors and smudge them, and repeat this process till you're happy with it. So for the demo purpose, I'm just going to keep it here, and we will move on to the next step. For the next step is we will create another layer. I'll just name it 2, and again we will keep it transparent and press OK. So in this case, what I'll do is, since this thing, just looks like a bunch of colors on a black background, there is not enough depth to it. So what we will be doing is to give this nebula a little more of a volume. So the trick to that is just select the brush tool, ensure that the foreground color is red, and with a round brush, uh, something with more of a hazy border, just make some strokes towards the border of this thing, of the painting that you have created, and you can add some more randomly in the in between as well. So remember, there are like no rules except for uh, few places where you are making stars, you'll have to make it white, but other than that, there's nothing. So then repeat the process of smudging it. So as you would have seen that in my previous process of smudging, I constantly changed different kinds of brushes. So that also determines how your painting would look like, because if you are like using something with a round brush and which has a very stark boundaries, you won't have like a very clear smudges. So try to work with brushes which have like some sort of uh, haziness around their corners. So yeah, I'll just be doing this, and then we'll move on to the next step. So as you can see, when you add little bit of black towards the edge of the smudge that you have created, it adds a little bit of volume to your nebula painting. Now this is obviously not a very complete picture, and the paintings that I created had so many layers. So you just repeat this process here, like you add colors and see how the merging looks like, and whenever you're in doubt, you can just add a different layer and start making experiment with them, and so that if you do not like something, you can just delete the layer or just hide it. So for demo purpose, I will be keeping it here, and we will move on to the next step, which is creating another layer, and in this case we will be adding stars. So this is the easiest bit of the whole painting. You just select the brush, make the foreground color white, and select a round brush, and make sure that the brush is round, and just ensure that the size is like really small, something less than 10, and start making random dots. So as you can see, it already feels like that we are looking at some stars, at far off stars in the galaxy. So there are no rules here. You can add as many stars as you want, as less as you want, because some parts of the galaxies are like super lit, while the other parts are like super dark. So it's totally up to you, and it's totally random how you want to make a painting. The other thing that you may try to experiment with is change the size of the brush a bit, and then go ahead with the making stars. So it gives an illusion that some of these stars are closer to us than the rest out there. So the same process of doing it, and you can already see that it looks definitely pretty, and particularly around these areas where we have smudged colors. So if you want to have like something more of of a brighter section that you want to highlight, you can also increase the size and just put a small dot, or maybe we can make it a little more bigger, something like that. So save your file, and if you repeat it, more or less you will have a constellation. So let's make Orion out of here. So we have 3 stars here, 2 here, and we have two here. So we already created a constellation which is Orion. Now, the other thing with the stars is like some of those stars twinkle, which is basically, there is a cross running through the star. So for that, we will again reduce the size of the star, and let's say we want to work on this one. So we'll just make a dot, and then we will zoom onto it. So this is our star, and we will zoom it till 200% is good, I think. Now at this point you can reduce the size of the brush to 1 and make a cross. Make a tiny cross, it need not be too big. And once you have made the cross, you can smudge with maybe like 3 pixels. So the point of smudging it is not to have super you know stark looking lines in this. Like everything is basically hazy, because there's so many stars out there and there are so many nebula clouds obstructing lights. So once you are done, just save it, and we will come back to our percent, and voila, you have like the twinkling stars here. So you can go ahead and repeat the same process of adding twinkling stars, and depending on how bright you want your painting to look like, you can also go ahead and do that. Now at this point, this is I really do like it, and I would like to stick to this one. But let's say if you want to play a bit more, GIMP also provides you with some filters. So you can go to filter and go to light and shadow and see supernova. So if you select that, you can see that it places a supernova star right at the middle of your painting. So you can see center X, center Y, and if you want to manipulate the position of the painting, you can just play around this one. So let's say we want to keep it over here, and you can increase the radius and decrease the radius. You can also increase and decrease the spikes, and you can change the color of your supernova star. So let's assume we liked it and we want to keep it here, and just press OK, and this adds to the whole thing. So this filter option is also available to you in case you want to explore it, but I prefer not to do it, because see it in this corner. Like, let me zoom it a bit. You can see that the concentric circles in this case are like super visible, so we would like to avoid that. So I personally do not prefer to work with this, so I'll just undo this one, and I think this looks pretty enough. So this is all your process of making a very simple nebula painting. Black background, add a little bit of colors, background, your colors that you smudge, then you add a little bit of black clouds to give it more definition. Repeat the process till you are happy, then you add the stars, and you are done. So once you are happy with the painting that you have created, remember that we need to export files onto GIMP. So you go to File, Export As, and we will keep it as Milky Way PNG, which is like typically it should have been Orion, but that's okay. And then we export. So you need to just let the default values be and export the file. So now my Milky Way or rather the Orion painting is being saved in the E drive, and let's see how this turned out. So you see, like this painting turned out to be really pretty in a very small time, and I wasn't expecting it to look like this, given that I was making a demo. So yeah, so go ahead and just try it out. It's super easy, and the tools are free. It's like completely open source, and you don't really have to be like artistically gifted or put in a lot of efforts to make something that looks like this. So just play around, add a lot of colors, add a lot of layers that you would want to experiment, and keep looking at the images that is being sent to us via James Webb, and yeah, keep making more paintings. So I will see you next time, and yeah, take care and bye.